Hello, YouTube and fellow citizens. It is I, the Sovereign Citizen, here, coming back at you again with some red pills. Alright, so today and last night, there was some commotion going on in Charlottesville. Uh, People are going to, the mainstream media is going to spin it in a way I'll get to right now, but I'll explain it the real way, okay? Then I can show you how the media is fucking propagandizing this whole event. This event was called Unite the Right. It was supposed to mend the wounds, heal the wounds that was created in Washington D.C. when there were two different right-wing speeches going on. One was an alt-right and one was alt-light, and there was a schism involved. And this was to mend that schism. This was to reunify the right. And apparently a bunch of white nationalists, white supremacists showed up. And that's all the media is focusing on. They're calling it a white nationalist rally or a white nationalist event or a white supremacist event. That's not true. It was supposed to be a right-wing event. It was supposed to be libertarians, Republicans, Kekistanis, alt-right, alt-light. It was supposed to be inclusive of everyone on the right. It wasn't supposed to be, it was never going to be a white supremacist event. But the media wants to focus on this false narrative. So I took to Twitter and I saw these photos of people on the right waving Nazi swastikas and Confederate flags. And as you can see, I said that Nazism is not right-wing. It's a form of Marxism, just with a racial twist. Nazism and Marxism are almost one and the same. They both involve the government taking control of property or people's rights. With Nazism and Marxism, they both took the guns. And there's going to be a misconception out there, oh, Hitler just took the Jews' guns. No, he took almost everyone's guns and gave it to the army and made sure the army and the SS and the Gestapo only had guns. All right? Same with Stalin, same with Mao. They took the guns. All right? Both Marxism and Nazism took the production in the country. It was all state-run companies. Volkswagen was started by the German Labor Party, and technically the German Labor Party were partnered up with the Nazi Party. They're basically one and the same, labor and socialism. But with Nazism, it focuses more on Darwin. And Nazis believe that they are superior to those that are a different race because they are more evolved, I would say with technology and culturally. And I mean, if you want to just talk about there, like, we are better because people in Africa are still using spears, not today, obviously, but in the 1860s. Like let's start with Darwinism. All right. In the 1860s, if the Africans only had spears and the Europeans had guns, that would mean that the Europeans are more evolved with technology. They adapted better to conquer, to be the strongest. It's the strongest that survives. Survival of the fittest. The Europeans got guns, perfected the gun. Asians came up with gunpowder, then the Arab, Turks, or just, I guess the Muslims in general, the Muslim caliphates, used cannons. The Europeans got a hold of these, and they're like, All right, we can make guns out of these. And they came up with the flintlock pistol and all kinds of other uh, inventions that involved uh, gunpowder. So it's a it's a mindset that, yes, in theory it's true, but in today's Western world, it's everyone is just about as evolved as each other because of globalization and trade. With Marxism, they just starve everyone to death and kill you if you don't bow to your dictator. And yes, communism produces dictators. Everywhere there's been communism, there has been a dictator. So I said, Nazism isn't right wing. It's not. The only thing that would be right wing about Nazism is a bigger military. It's the only thing. Nazis don't believe in the free market. Nazis don't believe in individual rights or freedom of speech or freedom of the press. None of that occurs in Nazism. And it's not right wing. And I hate the fact that in a political compass that they have Hitler kind of authoritarian right where he should be authoritarian left. He wasn't a big religious person. He didn't like the free market. He took control of a lot of places. And yeah, people that gave him money obviously could sell stuff. Hugo Boss, Adidas, Puma, all what's the other company? Like a bunch of these companies, Volkswagen, they paid him off in order to sell. And they were the only companies. They were state-sponsored companies. All right? That's like if Trump were to come up, like if Trump was still selling steaks or shoes, if Trump sold shoes, or he sells ties, if he were to take control of all of the other fashion companies like Tommy Hilfiger, if he were to go and seize Tommy Hilfiger, take the means of their production and start selling his own product, and the state sold it and it generated the state money, then that's state-sponsored production. All right, but with communism, there is no privatization. And if you go to Wikipedia, they're not going to share you this. It's a lot of people go into like Google. Google has changed Abraham Lincoln's political party because it's all fucking propaganda. It's revisionist history. They keep on revising history to make it fit their narrative. All right? So, going back onto the Charlottesville event in Virginia. Yes, there were white nationalists there. No, it was not a white nationalist event. Is Richard Spencer a white nationalist? No. Is Baked Alaska a white nationalist? No. So, the media wants to push this narrative that, oh, look, the right is just as violent as the left. But Antifa showed up and caused the violence. It's just like Berkeley, except that there were less Kekistan flags and more Confederate flags. Which brings me to the second point, the second tweet I put up. You cannot be right-wing and support the KKK or the Confederacy. Both were ran and created by Democrats. It's true. The KKK was a group created by Democrats because they wanted to keep their slaves. It's the Dixiecrats that created this. It was the Dixiecrats that wanted segregation. Hillary Clinton supported a Dixiecrat in Goldwater. All right. Wherever you look, it's always Republicans voting for personal freedoms. They voted against slavery. They voted they voted for abolitionism, I should say, not against slavery. They voted for abolitionism. They voted for the civil rights movement. They voted for to end Jim Crow. And Cenk Uygur said in his debates, like, "Oh, the not the Southern strategy occurred, and the political parties changed." No, they didn't. It's just that these old Democrats decide to change Republican for no reason. But they don't control office. All right, the racist Democrats still stayed racist Democrats. They didn't change. Only one did. Out of 21, only one did during the Southern strategy. The South is very Democrat. There are Democrats are more racist than you think. The Democrats are still in favor of segregation, but it's just that the power has shifted to where, oh, black students can have a dorm of like a dorm room of their own, or a dorm building of their own, so they don't have to deal with white people. It's segregation, just in a different disguise. And I don't like segregation either way. Segregation was created by the state. All right, I'm a free market person. I don't think that blacks should sit in a different car, in a different train car than whites. I don't think blacks should drink from different water fountains. I don't think that gays should not be able to legally be like marry. It goes either way. It's not racial. It's not. It's no matter what. The free market is not prejudice. The free market will help you out. Like I've shifted. All right. I was leaning left wing during the primaries, and at the end of the election, I started to tilt more center. Right now, I'm full on obtuse right wing. I like the free market. I don't think I'll change. My political party or my political affiliation has been fluid for the past 2 years, past 3 years, whatever. But now that I look and I see what the Democrats bring, and I look and I see what Bernie Sanders actually is, I become more right wing. Now, I'm not going to go out there and I don't support Paul Ryan. I don't support Mitch McConnell. I fucking hate John McCain. They're to me, they're not really right wing either. They're just a bunch of fucking assholes. All right, I like Rand Paul. Gary Johnson, he could use some work. Ron Paul's good, but it doesn't matter. These communists don't understand that what they're trying to do. They haven't learned history. All they know is that Nazism was somehow right wing, and that's not even true. They were told this, and they're like, "Oh, we have to go out and kill every right winger or hurt every right winger," blah blah blah. And it's absurd. They go out there and say Trump is worse than Hitler, and then there's a Holocaust survivor standing right there and says, "No, he's not." Go on Flecker's Talks. It's on Flecker's Talks, and it's a communist Jew. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? But at least he supports the notion that Trump is not Hitler. Trump is nowhere close to Hitler. Hitler was against gun ownership. Trump has not said he's leaned towards gun ownership more than he's leaned against it. All right, so Adolf Hitler was very pro animal rights, pro environmental rights. Trump hasn't really exercised that. Hitler killed 7 million Jews. Trump hasn't. All right, Trump is probably one of the most demonized people I've seen in a while. And I mean, like, actually demonized. Like, saying that Obama's from Kenya or Nigeria or whatever isn't demonizing someone. It's called being a fucking... I don't even know what you would call that. Being a provocateur, being provocative, just... Like... But people comparing him to a a fucking National Socialist that killed over 10 million people, that's absurd. That's actual demonization. All right, we should start comparing Bernie Sanders to Stalin if that's the case. So digressing and going back to the Charlottesville, Antifa showed up. Black Lives Matter showed up. There was a brawl. The police said, "All right, this is a illegal," or I forget what the terminology was. It was an illegal demonstration for the Unite the Right. So they had to disperse out of the park. People were pepper sprayed. That was just about it. The police spokeswoman for Charlottesville said that both sides were throwing soda cans filled with concrete. I highly doubt that. I feel like the right went there just to. All right. The right was there just to provoke things. We'll learn more. I feel like it was improperly handled, and I'll speak on this again. And just remember to stay free out there, everyone.